politics of climate. Welcome to the Buzz and Rave Show podcast of the politics of climate change, or environmental politics.
Or climate war, or the politics of saving the planet. What's happening, folks?
Is it really like the planet is dying of natural causes, or that's your emergency thinking?
Right. Proactively speaking, humans should start doing something now, or a lot have to be done later.
In the month of September, we have the following days to contemplate about the planet. International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer. World Car-Free Day. International Day of Awareness on Food Loss and Waste. World Maritime Day.
There's tons of information out there about causes of adverse effects on climate and resulting politics of climate.
So there is awareness and agreement, but it's not a priority for a lot of people, which results in governing differences.
We now know the numerous causes, responsible parties, and the scale of the problem. So why is awareness not culminated into priority? Shouldn't we be discussing the politics of climate change first, and then causes of climate change? Or I'd call it environmental degradation.
So people in the governments disconnect. What people feel doesn't reach out to governing functions, or vesting of interest prevent them to. Or human society struggles on other fronts and climate change doesn't become a priority.
Right. And that's why scaling of eroding of climate should be presented in a breakdown of causes from most to least. Otherwise, it's always them, that country, that industry, then me.
Sounds fair. According to UN, EPA, and C2ES Center for Climate and Energy Solutions, fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas are by far the largest contributor to global climate change, accounting for over 75% of global greenhouse gas emissions and nearly 90% of all carbon dioxide emissions.
In gases, it's carbon dioxide, CO2, then methane, CH4, nitrous oxide, N2O, fluorinated gases, F gases, and by sector, it's electricity and heat production, then industry, agriculture, forestry, and other land use, transportation, buildings.
And by country GHG emissions, it's China, then USA, India, EU 27, Russia, and rest of the world. Per capita GHG emissions, it's USA, Russia, Japan, China, EU, then rest of the world.
Let's see where and how these issues are addressed to try to fix, mitigate, or eliminate the problems. I mean the treaties, agreements, venues of debates, consortiums and legislative bodies, etc.
There are several, namely United Nations, Sustainable Developmental Goals, Knowledge Platform, Global Environment Facility, or GEF, which supports the integration of adaptation measures into development plans, policies, programs, and projects at the regional, national, subnational, and local levels. Then we have UNFCCC, stands for United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which is a parent treaty of both Paris Agreement and Kyoto Protocol. Then we have Climate Markets and Investment Association, with visions to achieve rapid reductions in greenhouse gas emissions, leading to global net zero emissions by 2050, while ensuring climate-resilient development.
And then we have Paris Agreement, which aims to limit global average temperature rise to less than 2 degrees Celsius over pre-industrial levels. Prior to this Kyoto Protocol, which aims to reduce emissions of 6 key greenhouse gases, whose objective is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 5.2% pre-1990 levels.
I'm sure there are huge fines for countries not abide by the agreements, and there is a lot of back and forth between them. Then why do we not see any impact?
Well, first, there is long time horizon for achieving the carbon emission targets for one, then rising populations in big countries make it more slower.
Population growth in underdeveloped or developing countries expand this challenge further. Therefore, the global politics cascade down to regional politics.
Let's see how it play out in industrialized countries such as US. According to Yale's survey conducted few years back, 56% of registered voters think global warming should be a high or very high priority for the President and Congress. 64% of registered voters think developing sources of clean energy should be a high or very high priority for the President and Congress. Many registered voters support building clean energy infrastructure in their local area. This includes solar farms, 61%, wind farms, 55%, electric vehicle charging stations, 52%, high-voltage power lines to distribute clean energy, 52%, nuclear power plants, 31%. Declaring climate change a national emergency.
Majorities of registered voters support providing financial aid and technical support to developing countries to limit their greenhouse gas emissions. That is mitigation, 60%. And to help them prepare for the impacts of global warming. That is adaptation, 57%. 26% of registered voters say they have rewarded companies that are taking steps to reduce global warming by buying their products in the past 12 months. And 20% say they have punished companies that are opposing steps to reduce global warming by not buying their products. And 75% of registered voters think schools should teach children about the causes and consequences of global warming and potential solutions.
But do you really think that this kind of awareness reaches to developing nations or countries ambitious on a path to industrialization when it is still in discussion in developed world?
No, but developing countries contributes less than 10% to this mess.
Yeah, but ignoring environmental hazards on a human level contribute to mass ignorance. How would a person peeling off the banana and throw the peel on the road react when lectured on how sulfur dioxide causes acid rain? Rubbish, I suppose.
Oh dear! Well, we can both finish some of the meat leftover products. But banana, no way.
And I'd only dig on live meat, just so you know.
But your ants can finish off some of the byproducts like carrions, I'd imagine.
Haha, very funny. Oh dear, my goodness me, Aunt Griffin, rest in peace. She did complain about people set up baits and poisoned the food, not to mention the pesticide use eventually consumed by that animal.
That's too bad. On awareness, the dichotomous thinking also exists. The all-or-nothing problem.
Which the UN calls it greenwashing. The deceptive debates behind environmental claims, typically misleading the public to believe that a company or other entity is doing more to protect the environment than it actually is.
Right, such as claiming to be on track to reduce a company's polluting emissions to net zero when no credible plan is actually in place, or applying intentionally misleading labels such as green or eco-friendly, which do not have standard definitions and can be easily misinterpreted.
Unbelievable. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up this podcast on climate politics.
And we shall see you soon with another one of the series.
Cheer-o.
See you later!